Thank you so much for doing this. First question is the big one. Why now? Why did you decide that after almost 60 years of public service that you're going to retire?
Well, first, thanks for our conversation. This decision is really an 8-year decision. 2 years running for office and a 6-year term as United States Senator. And I have to be realistic about how I feel and what I want to do in life, and I think it's the right time. As you point out, I will have served 58 years continuously as an elected official, and I think it's time for me to do something different and for this Marylanders to have a new member representing them in the United States Senate.
When we talk about your career, 20 years in the Maryland House of Delegates, 20 years in the House of Representatives, it will be 18 years in the Senate. How would you say politics has changed over those 58 years?
It's changed pretty dramatically. It's certainly become much more partisan, which is not a healthy thing, I believe. When I first started in the Maryland General Assembly, it was a much friendlier place than it is today. People worked together and they collaborated a lot more. Civility was there. To me, these are important ingredients in a democracy, and I would hope that we would return to some of those days.
Would you say your party has changed?
I just think American politics has changed, not so much a party. The public's much more divided. We see more partisanship in legislative bodies. I would tell you, in the United States Senate, it's not difficult for Democrats and Republicans to work together. I've been able to work across party line on getting major things done throughout my Senate career. And that's the norm if you want to get things done.
So over some 6 decades, what would you say are some of your biggest accomplishments? It could be the Senate, it could be the House, it could be the House of Delegates.
It started in the Maryland House of Delegates, where I really do think I was able to help the transition of the Maryland General Assembly to be a professional, independent branch of government, to the United States Senate, working for the people of Maryland to protect the Chesapeake Bay, taking a disaster of a 12-year-old dying from not being able to see a dentist, to developing a national policy so that every child in America has access to dental care. It's establishing the new international standards to go after human rights violators, the Magnitsky sanctions that I was able to get enacted, to helping things like building bicycle trails and pedestrian trails throughout Maryland. I'm pretty proud of what I've been able to get accomplished, and it's a great state to represent.
What about the things that keep you up at night that, despite being here for 6 decades, you've not been able to accomplish?
Well, after January 6th, we recognized the vulnerability of our democratic institutions. I think the greatest challenge is to make sure that we can continue to strengthen the democratic institutions in this country. And I must tell you, very disappointed by the United States Supreme Court decision in Dobbs, not just the specific women's health care issues, but the backtracking on individual rights versus the powerful in our country. So there are areas that I think we need to be attended to. I'm going to work on that very hard the next 2 years. I still have 2 more years in the United States Senate, but these are challenges to our democratic institutions.
I guess there's a tendency to want to stick around if you feel like the job's not done. We're seeing that in the executive, you might say, an older president that's deciding he's going to run again. Why not stick around? Why is it, in your eyes, time to sort of pass that torch?
No, look, I've been blessed. I've been able to get an opportunity of a lifetime in the Maryland General Assembly, House of Representatives, and now in the United States Senate. I've cherished every day. I still have 2 more years of this term. When it's time, you know it, and this is the right decision for me. I'm not retiring. I plan to continue to do things to follow my values and passion, but I think it is the right time for me to make the decision that I can do it in a different way than being an elected official.
So after nearly 2 decades, somebody new is going to perhaps get this office. They're going to take your spot. What would you want to see in the next senator of Maryland?
Well, I want to make sure that we have a person who will be attentive to all parts of our state. I love this state, from the mountains to the beaches, and the people are great. I'm proud to work with Senator Van Hollen. He's been a great partner in the United States Senate. And I know we're going to be in good hands, but I hope that the person who fills this spot will recognize what an honor they have, but also an obligation to help the people of Maryland.
Any endorsements?
No, I'm not planning to do any endorsements. I think we have to see who's really committed to the race. It's not easy to run for the United States Senate, and I'm looking forward. We have a deep bench, so it's going to be, I do predict that a Democrat will take the seat.
So no endorsements now, but do you think at one point you will, or do you just want to let the primary play out?
Well, let's see who falls and who gets into the race. I certainly will do everything I possibly can to make sure we keep this seat as a Democratic member of the United States Senate.
I'd love your analysis. Will the former governor, the Republican governor, Larry Hogan, do you think he will run, and what would you think about that?
No, I think he's indicated he has no interest in running for the Senate. He's said it several times he really does not want to serve in the Senate. So I expect it'll be a competitive situation, but I don't know who's going to be the nominees of both parties.
So what's next for you? You going to go like put your feet up and retire in Ocean City, or write a book? What's the plan?
No, none of that. I don't plan to retire. I plan to find other ways that I can serve and follow the values that have really guided my life. So I'm going to continue to work on our environment, continue to work on human rights, continue to do things, perhaps try to impart some of my experiences to other people. We'll find ways to serve.
Any reflections on just 60 years of, and it's not six, it's 58 and it's actually 56. I know we're almost there, but almost 6 decades of being in this
I really
office.
do thank the people of Maryland for allowing me to have these opportunities. And it started when I was a law student, representing Baltimore City in the House of Delegates, becoming Speaker of the House, which was a great opportunity in and of itself, and then representing a good part of the Baltimore region in the House of Representatives, and now the entire state of Maryland in the United States Senate. It's been an opportunity of a lifetime. I've given my heart and soul to doing everything I can to help the people of Maryland. And I thank them so much for their trust.